All right, hey, what's going on? This is Dan Keller, your mortgage advisor at Guild Mortgage. I want to welcome you to another episode of Making Sense of the Markets. Today is Saturday, December 9th, episode number 50. So 50 weeks in a row, I've come to you with a market update and some valuable information that you can use, that you can share. And certainly this week, you are going to get some information that you need to know. We're going to talk Bitcoin. It's a super trendy topic right now. I think you as a consumer need to at least understand what it is. I think there's a lot of confusion in the marketplace right now. I think there is it being a trendy topic, there is a lot of confusion around whether Bitcoin is an investment or Bitcoin is a potential currency. And I'm going to shed some light on that. The other thing that I'm going to share with you is some vetted information. Understand that I am not giving you investment advice. I'm simply bringing you the information, but you need to know, as a mortgage professional and someone who has a lot of money in the stock market and invested, that I vet every piece of information that I share with you or that I personally use or entertain using in my financial life. This is information that I have ran by my personal financial planner as well as a couple of other economists that I trust. So I want you to come on in. I'm going to switch screens right now. We're going to do a real quick market update, where the market is over the last week, what it did, and we're going to talk Bitcoin. All right, so today we're going to talk Bitcoin. But before I jump into this discussion, I'm going to spend a good just about 5 minutes on Bitcoin. I want to talk about the market recap. Last week, market review. You hear me talk a lot, and I'm going to spend about 30 seconds on this. You hear me talk a lot about this 103 mark. What this 103 mark represents is it represents 30-year fixed rate still in the upper threes, which is great. So we're still there. Depending on the type of property finance, the down payment, and your credit score, you can still lock in a 30-year fixed rate in the upper threes. So still a great time to purchase. Still a great time if you haven't taken advantage of refinancing, lowering your rate, maybe removing your private mortgage insurance or pulling some cash out at very, very low costs. This is the time to look into that. Reach out to me. I'd love to sit down with you and go over your options and just provide some clarity around the options that you have in today's market. So let's jump in and let's talk about Bitcoin. So I think it's important for you to understand really the main factors, the what, the when, the why, and the who around Bitcoin. So I've taken some notes here and I've got them in front of me. I want to also preface this and use this as a disclaimer. I have vetted this information not only through some research on my own, but my financial planner and a couple of economists in the marketplace that I trust. And so by no means am I giving legal advice. I'm just giving you the facts on Bitcoin. So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a form of digital currency or cryptocurrency. You'll hear a lot about that. Created and held electronically. No one controls this. Bitcoins aren't printed like US dollars or controlled by the US government. They're produced by people and by businesses that are running computers using a specialized software and computing system all around the world. And again, this software simply solves mathematical problems, and that is the idea around Bitcoin. When was it started? It was started in 2008 by a fictitious character. It was started by a human being, but going by a fictitious character to protect his or her identity, called Satoshi Nakamoto. Nakamoto created an electronic payment system based on proof. This is that centralized ledger. This is what all of these computers and this software, where you can be involved with Bitcoin right now if you have the right computer and software. But what it does is it creates a centralized ledger. The idea was to produce a currency independent of any central authority, transferable electronically, more or less instantly, and with very little costs associated. So with money, depending on the global economics outlook, more money can be printed, therefore devaluing our dollar, hence our $1 trillion deficit right now. Also with money, it's backed by U.S. credit. Prior to 1971, I think our U.S. dollar was backed by gold. And with Bitcoin, however, no one controls it. It's decentralized. And people like that idea because the large banks and credit unions and governments, if you will, do not control or audit their money. With Bitcoin, this is really important to understand. There's a finite supply, meaning there's a limited amount available. There is only 21 million Bitcoin produced. That's enough currency, digital currency, to last about 120 to 125 years, they say. It will not have, over the next 120 years, the volatility as money has, because again, it's not controlled by a government. So a big question I posted on social media the other night was, who prints it? Who prints the money and where does it come from? Well, nobody prints Bitcoin. Bitcoin isn't physically printed in the shadows of a central bank like money. It's not, for example, money is unaccountable to the population, and the banks basically control the rules. With Bitcoin, the rules are already established. Those banks, with banks, they can simply produce more money to cover a national debt, devaluing the currency. With Bitcoin, Bitcoin is created digitally by a community of people where anyone like you and I can join in that movement. We must just have a computer and the special software, and we can begin mining, if you will, Bitcoin. Bitcoins are mined using computing power in a distributed network, kind of as you can see. I think this is a snapshot I took from a Chinese or foreign, I believe a Chinese Bitcoin warehouse. So what is Bitcoin based on? Another question that I got. So conventional currency has been based on silver or gold, as I spoke about earlier. Theoretically, you knew that if you handed $1 over to the bank, you could get some gold or currency back. Although this didn't actually work in practice, Bitcoin isn't actually based on gold. It's based, again, on mathematics. So around the world, people are using this software to follow a mathematical formula to produce Bitcoins. The mathematical formula is freely available. So I want to stop right here. I think people right now are confused with Bitcoin because they're seeing it as an investment. That's not the idea around Bitcoin. The idea around Bitcoin is that there is this centralized ledger that there are hundreds of thousands of people with the right software. They can help mine Bitcoin, and they can factor into this ledger. This software is also an open source, meaning anyone can join, anyone can look at it at all times. So if you sell or buy Bitcoin, or if you use Bitcoin or make a transaction, it's available publicly. However, some important things to understand about Bitcoin is that it's anonymous, meaning your name is not attached to it, just your ID. The other thing is some of the important tips or the attractions to it, it's easy to set up, it's fast, and it's completely transparent. So one of the things I want to talk about in regards to its transparency is Bitcoin stores, and this is huge. This is the big part of Bitcoin to understand, called blockchain. Bitcoin stores details of every single transaction that has ever happened in a network in a huge version of what's called a generalized ledger called blockchain. The blockchain tells all. If you have a publicly used Bitcoin address, anyone can tell how many Bitcoins are stored at that address. They just don't know that it is yours or mine. So this is another big myth right now. Do Bitcoins have value? No, Bitcoins do not have value as a physical commodity like gold and silver. They are not widely accepted as a legal tender like dollars. Rather, Bitcoin appears to have value for the following reasons. It's popular. Again, right now, people are jumping on the Bitcoin bandwagon because it's trendy, and they're seeing its stock, if you will, rise. Investors are urging against making a major investment in Bitcoin, but suggest using Bitcoin as a currency one day. That's the approach I am taking. That's the approach that my financial planner has given me, and that's the approach that certain economists have given me in the marketplace. People are seeing both Bitcoin right now in the wrong light. They're seeing it as an investment, not as a system. Much like, compare Bitcoin to the internet in the 90s. About 20 years ago, the internet was created, and Bitcoin is much like the internet in general. It's going to be a vehicle, but it's not necessarily an investment. Can you buy Bitcoin? Yes. Coinbase is one of the largest Bitcoin exchangers right now. Users in the United States, Canada, and Europe can buy Bitcoins with a connected bank account transfer. So how do you do it? If you want to buy Bitcoin, step one, you sign up for a Coinbase account. So I've given you directions right here. You sign up for a Coinbase account. 2, you attach your bank account to it. Number 3, you buy and sell Bitcoin. It's that easy. So in summary, I want to give you some advice from my financial planner. In summary, number 1, people like to be trendy. Number 2, people love to brag about their investments. Number 3, people don't like to miss out on things. And number 4, people like to make money. This is from my financial planner. But then he goes on to say, however, people like to know and understand what they own. Number 2, people don't like to lose money. Number 3, rarely do people give their investments enough time to do what they're supposed to do. This is the key advice that I've researched on the internet right now. Now might be the time to invest in Bitcoin, but there will be a crash, and then the next best time to invest in Bitcoin is in the future. So if you're investing or getting into Bitcoin right now as an investment, you might be doing it for the wrong reasons. let me close with this. If you have any questions on this, reach out to me. I'm happy to introduce you to my financial planner or some information, additional information on this. But Bitcoin is supposed to be used as a digital method of exchanging currency, not necessarily an investment vehicle right now. Hey, if you found this information valuable, do me a favor, share it. Again, this is about an 8 to 9 minute rant or update. I hope this is helpful. I think I needed to spend the time on this. And it's important information for you to know. I'm out of here. I hope you have a great weekend, and let me know if I can be of any assistance to you in the meantime. Bye for now.